time to take a TO with Coaches Turner and O'Neill. Produced by Kurtis Cross and engineered by DJ Krissy.
It's time to take a TO with Turner and O'Neill. Your new favorite podcast features conversation from the world of high school, college, and pro sports, along with other riveting content. Connect with us on Facebook and Instagram at Turner O'Neill Podcast and on Twitter at Turn On Podcast, or visit www.turnerando'neill.com. Listen on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, Buzzsprout, and more than 15 podcast platforms. We also invite you into the studio each week via YouTube. Subscribe and watch each episode on our YouTube channel at Turner O'Neill Podcast. Thanks to our premier partner, Ray Cruz and MCF Mortgage. Our partners, the Tamara Cusick Team, Dynamic DJ Entertainment, Healthy Baller, and Insurance Alliance Group, LLC. Our sponsors, O'Neill Development, LLC, Next Level Lacrosse, A Squared Home and Office Solutions, Collins Funeral Home, and Peace Players International. And our donors, Winsight Media, Gene the Barber, Body and Beyond Wellness, and Justin O'Neill. Take a TO with Coach Turner and O'Neill is produced by Kurtis Cross and engineered by me, DJ Krissy. Now we welcome you to today's episode as we take a TO with Coaches Steve Turner and Casey O'Neill. Here's your host, Kurtis Cross.
Welcome to Season 2, Episode 14 of Take a TO with Turner and O'Neill. I am Kurtis Cross, your host, and with me as always is Coach Steve Turner and Coach Casey O'Neill. Our engineer is DJ Krissy, and together we welcome you into the studio for this week's episode. Our premier partner for Season 2 is Ray Cruz and MCF Mortgage. Ray Cruz had a birthday recently, didn't he, Steve?
Yes, he did.
Happy birthday to our premier partner, Ray Cruz. You are a friend of the program, and you are the only mortgage lender we endorse right here at Take a TO with Turner and O'Neill. Ladies and gentlemen, Ray Cruz is Mortgage Intelligently. We'd like to thank our partners, the Tamara Cusick Team, Dynamic DJ Entertainment, Healthy Baller, and the Insurance Alliance Group, LLC. This week, the basketball junkies and us are certainly going to get our fill. Coach Don Showalter with USA Basketball joins us in just a bit. But first, gentlemen, Coach Turner, how was your weekend?
Weekend was great. Beautiful Easter weekend, chilling at home. Final Fours on both sides of the ball, men and women. Got to see some great games, great hoops, and made a little jambalaya.
No, you didn't.
Oh, yeah. I stepped on it, stepped all over it.
You ain't tell us nothing about that.
And, sometimes I keep little things a little quiet.
Oh, yeah, you do.
But I did make a nice jambalaya.
The works, sausage, shrimp.
Oh, we had sausage.
Veggies.
We had andouille sausage. We had a little kielbasa. We had shrimp and some good chicken.
So Coach Turner may have done some things.
I did the damn thing.
Is there any left over?
There is probably one bowl left.
Yeah.
Might have Paula's name on it. She loves her some jambalaya.
Hey.
She got to fight you for it?
She doesn't have to fight me for it. I'll give it to her.
Coach O'Neill, talk to us.
Easter Bunny showed up. That's a big deal in the O'Neill household, especially for the youngest. Hid some eggs. We had some Easter egg hunts. I saw great pictures of the Cross family Easter egg hunt as
They
well.
did that, yes.
Looks like something got into maybe those.
If you look closely at the pictures, a chipmunk, a squirrel, or something got into one of those eggs, yeah.
So the Easter was nice because I felt like 2020's Easter, which felt so long ago,
Right.
was non-existent. Easter Bunny's like, I don't want to get sick. I don't think he was vaccinated at that time, so he didn't come last year.
Right. Okay.
Easter Bunny is one of the first responders, so vaccinated, came in and showed up at the household. Had our boy back this weekend, the Clemson Tiger.
Cole.
Made a quick trip to Raleigh, watched them play NC State on Friday night, brought him back. Team bus left, he came back. He'll head back tomorrow. So awesome to have not only all the children under the same roof, but for the first time with the dog, the new family, all together.
I'm sorry, I didn't think about that. He hadn't met the dog yet.
Hadn't met the dog. So he came with me when we came back Saturday to the trainer had the dog for a couple nights.
Okay.
And that was, let me tell you, that was hard for me to drop off before we left for our trip.
Right.
As I'm, pulling away, cue the music, like looking in the rear view and seeing the dog look at me and like, what are you doing?
Feeling guilty?
Where you going?
Where are you going? I feel, very, very guilty. May have asked Mrs. O'Neill on our car ride at Raleigh, like, can you text the trainer and send some pictures?
Oh, boy.
See what's going on. But Sammy loves Cole. It was a great sort of reunion or introduction, and the rest is history.
Awesome.
So, absolutely.
DJ Krissy, your weekend young lady.
Kept up the walk program.
Okay.
Found a nice little offshoot off Beach Drive. Had a nice dirt little path.
You sent some pictures. I saw some
I
cool
did.
stuff.
Some awesome graffiti. Love graffiti.
Yes.
It's fun.
Do you take part in the
disco-
graffiti?
I
Are you
didn't make
like Disco
the
Dan? Remember
Disco Dan.
No, I didn't make the graffiti. I just like looking at it.
Because you don't want that recording to come out.
No.
That DJ Krissy
No,
also.
So
I
even
would-
if she did.
oh.
By day, DJ. By night.
Graffiti artist.
I will neither confirm nor deny.
There you go. Yes, you sent some great pictures. Go ahead, please.
Enjoy some time just sitting outside on the back porch.
Whatever.
Gotta
You
love
better
that.
talk about the elephant in the room. She made some apple muffins.
I did.
She made some apple muffins.
We're definitely eating that after the show.
I may have already had one.
It might have happened.
I may have. So your weekend was cool. What's up?
Well, what about your week? We always talk about our week. What happened with you?
I'm going to tell you the best thing I saw last week. I'm coming back from dinner. Paul and I finally got to enjoy our anniversary dinner from last July. I sent you guys some pictures. We
saw that.
Right? And then
Amazing.
on the way back, we're coming out of Bethesda near BCC High School. What do I see? 3 boys at a bus stop. What do I see? One of them's carrying shoulder pads and a helmet.
Lacrosse.
And I almost teared
football,
up.
Football helmet.
I
Okay.
almost teared up. I'm like, these youngins are playing again.
Yeah.
And that, I don't care if it's 3 games or if it's 5 games. I saw that and I'm like, this is what these kids need to do. So that made me very happy.
That's
I
awesome.
love that.
Made me very happy.
Awesome.
So I got to see that last week, and just to know those kids are playing, I know that's a passion. You guys are closer to it than me because you coach. I don't coach anymore, but to see that brought back a whole wow.
Yeah.
No, this is what they've been missing. The boys were they were chopping it up at the bus stop, whatever, but he had his shoulder pads and the helmet, and that's what I saw.
Now more than ever, nobody's going to take it for granted.
No.
Every practice, every workout, every meeting, where you're in person or it just, what?
Nothing.
What am I missing?
Nothing. Go.
We're just not going to take it for granted.
We're not.
And we had some basketball that certainly brought us back to watch women and men, some incredible games.
You guys are making me watch. You're making me like
Well, I'm talking
men's Final Four.
sporting event.
But that moment
In the
alone,
world.
and I know we're going to
Period.
talk about it, and I'm embarrassed to say that it was late Saturday night, and I kind of fell asleep.
You might have fallen asleep.
Well, Chloe, Erica and Claire were asleep. Chloe and I were on the couch. It was so nice to have your 12-year-old daughter. It's not very often 12-year-old daughters are like, "Oh, Daddy, I'm good. Get away."
Right?
She just took a little nap, and I've fallen asleep. And Cole's like, "You gotta wake up right now. It's 81 all." And I'm like, "Holy, you know what?" And it was unbelievable.
Last week, we were inside the studio, and we thank each of you who listened and watched our Inside the Studio episode from March Madness to MLB opening day for most teams. You can take a listen by going back to episode 13. Listen or watch on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, YouTube, and wherever you get your podcast content. Before we go to break, we'd like to take a moment to recognize a member of the Washington, D.C. area's basketball community. Mr. Ronald Wimbush passed away this past week, and while some of you may not know the name, Coach Turner and I do. Ronald Wimbush was a part of the Wimbush family that I grew up with in Northeast Washington, D.C. In fact, his sister Wanda was my baby sister some years ago. I grew up looking up to Ronald. As the years went on, Ronald and I crossed paths again as he was well vested in the local basketball community. My mother went and visited with his family today, by the way.
That's good.
But Coach Turner, I think you can pick it up from here.
You're getting snickered at not because of what you're talking about, but you did just say that she was your baby sister. That she was your baby sister, not your babysitter.
Oh, she was my babysitter. Yes.
Now, hold on. With Ronald, he would laugh at this. He would.
Ron Wimbush would have definitely laughed at this.
So his sister Wanda was my babysitter. Yes. My babysitter, not my baby sister.
But Ron Wimbush, unbelievable man in the community, working with kids. Coached at St. John's. Got the coach under the guy who coached him, Paul DiStefano. Helped me out a little bit over at Gonzaga.
Oh, man.
And I had just seen him last Saturday, taking my son to practice and see him, ball bag strapped over his shoulder, taking a young man into the gym, getting ready to help him work on his game. And we spoke and got to talk a little bit. He actually had sent me some videos on a young man that he wanted me to start looking at over the next couple of years. And then I got the call this week that he was in a head-on collision and unfortunately lost his life. Ron, you will be missed. The basketball community loves you. We'll be here doing what you've done for so many others for years, and may you rest in peace.
Yes. Let's hit our first break, and we will be back with this week's headline.
O'Neill Development is a custom builder in Maryland, Virginia, Washington, D.C., and the Eastern Shore. Recognized nationally as a premier builder, O'Neill Development has received awards for historic restoration and urban infill work. Committed to best practices in green building, O'Neill Development also provides support in budgeting, architect selection, and design development during the critical stages of planning. O'Neill Development, building, remodeling, and development since 1975. Find us at www.o'neilldev.com or call 301-840-9310. Since 1939, the Collins family has served families of Montgomery County and Greater Washington with dignified professional service in their time of need. We continue the same family tradition today at our funeral home located just off the Beltway in Silver Spring, Maryland. Our family of experienced funeral directors stand ready to assist you around the clock, 365 days a year. Whether you wish to pre-plan or you have experienced a loss, please contact us to discuss how we can assist you at your time of need. Call 301-593-9500 or visit collinsfuneralhome.com.
Take a TO with Turner and O'Neill can be found on more than 15 podcast platforms. Listen to us on Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Buzzsprout, Spotify, and other popular podcast platforms. Tune in on your preferred podcast platform. Be sure to listen, subscribe, and spread the word. Take a TO with Turner and O'Neill records weekly with episode drops each Thursday at 11 a.m.
Become a friend of the program. Friendship contributions start at just $25. Each contribution helps to fuel Take a TO with Turner and O'Neill. To find out more or make your contribution, go to www.turnerando'neill.com and click Become a Friend. One Headline is brought to you by
Insurance Alliance Group manages the gap between damage appraisal estimates from your insurance company and what you are rightfully owed based on your policy. They work on behalf of policyholders with claim assistance and disputes to maximize claims. Insurance Alliance Group serves as professional advisors and trusted advocates. The Insurance Alliance Group handles business and home property loss. Request a free claim review with the property loss professionals. Insurance Alliance Group. Visit us at insurancealliancegroup.com or call 866-574-4773.
Portions of the podcast were previously recorded. Now, back to Take a TO with Turner and O'Neill.
Welcome back to Take a TO with Turner and O'Neill, where I do not have a baby sister. I am the baby brother. I'm the youngest in the family. Today's episode is brought to you by Ray Cruz and MCF Mortgage. Before we get to this week's headline, another accolade goes out to Season 1, Episode 13 in UConn guest and UConn commit AZ Fudd. Last week, she was named the 2021 Morgan Wooten Player of the Year.
Before you go to the headline, she also shot in the high school three-point competition this weekend.
Why did I miss
with
that?
With a boot on, mind you. She had a boot on one foot.
Okay.
She ended up tying her her soon-to-be teammate, who was another high school All-American, and she ended up coming in second because of the tiebreaker. So the tiebreaker they had was how many shots did you make, not the amount of points. So their points were the same,
right?
And that's because AZ made more
money balls,
mm-hmm. But she ended up losing in the
how many did you get?
Because her teammate made more shots, just didn't make as many money balls. But to watch her just shoot the way she shot the ball this weekend,
right,
with a boot on,
right,
she's a bad girl. Look, UConn might have lost this year.
Next year,
with the two shooters they got coming, and I'm sure they got more than just those two coming.
They don't even need any more.
They return everyone.
Right. No seniors.
UConn definitely is going to be preseason number one in the country.
Oh, they got to be. They got to be. Let's get to this week's headline. Major League Baseball pulls the 2021 All-Star Game from Atlanta. Gentlemen, your thoughts?
Two sides to this. When you mix politics and sports, you can have good and you can have bad. And love that the world can look around and see athletes stand up for what's right, or organizations. The good in this is that, look, good for MLB stepping up, right? I mean, all around this voting law that they're moving the game. But what I think hurts is I was reading today before the show that almost $100 million in sort of revenue and economy and jobs and things for people is gone out of that area. So I see people that live in downtown Atlanta or around there that have the opportunity and generating jobs going into this all-star game and stuff around the city to be celebrated, and then boom, it's gone. So I'm kind of indifferent on it, but kudos to MLB for stepping in. I noticed the Braves had to cover the patch on their uniform this weekend as well, that they're hosting the all-star game.
Better get some new uniforms.
Curious to hear your take, though, Coach.
I'm kind of where you are on it because I think there's winning and losing in the situation. I definitely kudos to the MLB for making a decision based on those voting laws and what's not being done right there. Mm-hmm. But I do feel for those who are going to have opportunities to be able to make incomes and try to make some ends meet. I mean, we've been in a pandemic, and some of these people probably haven't had jobs for a minute and an opportunity to work, and that's being lost for some folks. So, it's tough. It's hard to see that part of it, but some of these guys in legislation got to be able to do the right things, and they weren't doing the right things, and I have to say the MLB did the right thing.
I'm not copping out. I got to agree with both of you. That's my take.
Again, politics, so many people will tell you, maybe on the conservative side of things, that they just play the sport and let's just let it be and come on, like don't mix that together. But I think for the youth to know what's right or wrong, they're going to look up to those athletes. They're going to look up to those individuals. And I'd be curious to hear, and I haven't heard a lot from the actual players of the Braves or the organization themselves, but just how those guys feel about it. We've talked about the All-Star game, whether they should even be playing All-Star games,
right?
Whether it was NBA or NFL and NHL and things like that. But not to, we are NL East fans here, and the Braves are starting out 0-3. So,
well, Clayton McCullough himself said if his team were leading the division at the time, and if he were to be asked to be the manager, he wasn't going to do it.
Good,
right? So he did say that. So he's I think Japanese and black descent, I believe.
Yeah.
Yes. All right. Well, that is this week's headline. Krissy, let's do it. Take It to You with Turner and O'Neill would like to thank our friends of the program: Shane Benson, Todd Bradley, Paula Cross, Susan and Brendan O'Neill Sr., Daniel Richard, Noah Richard, Andrea Terrones. If you would like to become a friend of the program, go to www.turnerandoneil.com and click Become a Friend.
Gene the Barber has been in the business of making you look good for more than 20 years. Kids cuts, adult cuts, men and women, Gene has the experience and style you're looking for. Contact Gene the Barber for an appointment by calling him direct, 240-687-7253. Our producer uses Gene the Barber, and he's available for your next barbershop visit as well. Call 240-687-7253 and tell him Turner and O'Neill sent you.
A Squared Home and Office Solutions is the go-to source for home or office network and audiovisual solutions. We can help with smart home integration, wireless networking, media rooms, security systems, and more. We will link technology to your style seamlessly. Visit homeandofficesolutions.com for more info.
The Starting Five is brought to you by
Healthy Baller is dedicated to developing athletes at any level through customized programs created by our world-class trainers. Healthy Baller creates an unparalleled training experience centered around the athlete and coach relationship. Between our physical therapy team and strength and conditioning staff, we create an all-encompassing process to help injured athletes return to the field. Become your own success story. We offer group and team training, individual workouts, or semi-private training. Call 844-622-5537 or visit healthyballer.com.
Portions of the podcast were previously recorded. Now, back to Take It to You with Turner and O'Neill.
The Starting Five. Welcome back to Take It to You with Turner and O'Neill. I'm your host, Kurtis Cross, and I'm with Coach Steve Turner, Coach KC O'Neill, and of course, our engineers, DJ Krissy. We are up to our top five, or our starting five. 5 questions asked of each coach. They've never heard these questions, and they each have 30 seconds to answer these questions. If they go over their 30 seconds, DJ Krissy, what will happen? We are a little pressed for time because Coach Show is going to be with us in a minute. So, gentlemen, let's do it. Favorite thing about Erica?
I got 30 seconds. I could
And you're
go
wasting
all
them.
day long about Miss Erica. You know what? Not only is she beautiful and smart, but it's her humor. It's my favorite thing.
Favorite thing about Leah?
Her compassion.
Favorite cereal?
Fruity Pebbles.
Frosted Flakes.
What's more important, life insurance or a healthy investment portfolio? Life insurance is legacy,
Life insurance.
but that investment portfolio is retirement and legacy as well.
Right now, it's a life insurance.
All right. Sir,
I'll back him up on that one. Life insurance.
candidates for the UNC men's coaching job, basketball opening, besides Steve Turner.
Steve Turner.
Okay.
I think this is the first time that they may have to go outside of the family.
Okay.
And I heard a unique one this week.
Okay.
Jay Wright.
Really?
Wow.
Gonna pull him?
Or Celtics, you're done. Go grab Brad Stevens.
My answer is Steve Turner, but most importantly, his head assistant
Lead
of
assistant.
operations, Coach O'Neill. I could get it done. Yeah.
All right, what about the person who deals with all the entertainment, the engineer in the stadium? And
It's going to be DJ Kurtis and DJ Krissy. Yeah.
All right, I wanna be the voice.
So take it to you. Take it to you. Boom. Done.
just take us all over there.
Yep, done.
But he's going to bring a few others.
Go
'Cause
Tar Heels.
Go Tar Heels. All right. I'll give each of you 5 things, 5 different things, and let's see what your responses are. You will be first up, Coach O'Neill. Game 7 of which sport is the best?
Hockey.
Cut the grass or shovel the snow?
Cut the grass.
Direct deposit or go to the bank?
Direct deposit.
Hammock in the sun or sit by the fire?
By the fire.
On demand, at home, or movie theater?
Oh, at home. At home. By the way, that hammock, you don't want to see me that flipping all over the place.
Coach Turner, you're up. Write a book or act in a movie?
Act in the movie.
Sky Suite or front row?
Front row.
What happens first, Skins in the Super Bowl or Wizards in the NBA Finals?
Skins in the Super Bowl.
Classic car or hot rod?
Classic car.
With Jared, 21st birthday, Vegas weekend or fishing trip?
Man, we're going to Vegas. Let's go.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is your starting 5. The starting 5.
Body and Beyond Wellness is acupuncture and wellness consulting. Our peaceful oasis is nestled just outside the Washington, D.C. Beltway. Our acupuncture treatments, workshops, and other wellness offerings will have you feeling restored, renewed, and revived. A limited appointment schedule is now available, but you must call in advance to schedule. Call 301-758-7980 or visit www.thebodyandbeyond.com for more info.
Winsight Media. Winsight delivers connections and intelligence to 4 of the fastest growing verticals: convenience retailing, grocery businesses, restaurants, and non-commercial food service through broad and cutting-edge platforms. No company is better positioned to meet the food industry's needs than Winsight. Connect with us at www.winsightmedia.com.
Let's get social. Find us on Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter.
Connect with us on Instagram and Facebook at Turner O'Neill Podcast, on Twitter at Turn On Podcast, and on YouTube. Search Turner and O'Neill and then click subscribe.
This segment of Take It to You with Turner and O'Neill is sponsored by
Ray Cruz and MCF Mortgage. With a stellar reputation as an outstanding mortgage lender, Ray Cruz serves the lending needs of real estate professionals, builders, and individual home buyers in Maryland, Washington, D.C., Virginia, Texas, California, Florida, Illinois, New Jersey, and Pennsylvania. Ray believes that integrity is the cornerstone of his business, and helping you achieve your home financing goals is his business. Located in the heart of Bethesda, Maryland, contact Ray P. Cruz today to get started. Your home mortgage or refinance options await. Call 301-761-2278 or visit raypcruz.com. Ray P. Cruz, mortgages intelligently.
Portions of the podcast were previously recorded. Now, back to Take It to Yo with Turner and O'Neill. Ladies and gentlemen, today's guest is a basketball coaching legend with more than 600 wins as a high school coach in Iowa. As a USA basketball coach, Don Showalter has led the men's U16 and U17 teams to 10 gold medal honors, amassing a record of 62-0. We are pleased that he has taken the time to join us today, so please welcome to the show, Coach Don Showalter. Coach, how's it going today, sir?
Hey, I'm glad to be a part of your podcast. Looking forward to it.
Coach, before we begin, I must say thank you to you and the USA basketball family, as my kids, Chelsea and Adam, have attended the Wednesday and Sunday virtual skills camps for the past few months, and they absolutely loved it. They especially loved getting to see Kelsey Plum, Jason Tatum, and Quinn Cook. They are also getting some great instruction, so I want to thank you for bringing that to the screens virtually for these young people out here.
It was a great, we have to really adjust, and I always say coaches are flexible and come up with different ways to teach the game. And during this pandemic, obviously, we had to come up with some new ways to teach the game to the campers. And the virtual camp was a huge success for the campers, I think, but also was a huge success for USA basketball. And we were glad it went so well, and we were glad to do it.
Well, I'm looking for the next email because we're going to sign up again. And I think you know the gentleman to my right, Coach Steve Turner's in the studio.
Coach Show, thank you for taking some time out of your schedule today.
Turner.
Appreciate you coming on the podcast today.
Hey, I'm more than happy to. I know you guys are well respected in the D.C. area and all over the country, so it's a privilege to be a part of your podcast.
And we have Coach, I can't say his name, Casey O'Neill.
Come on, I've been sitting Coach Showalter. I coach a different sport. I am a colleague of Coach Turner's. I'm a big fan of yours. I do coach lacrosse, a lot of similarities, and Steve is a big fan of it. But thank you so much. Excited to chop it up with you here and ask you some questions and taking time out of your busy schedule. So welcome.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Well, I got to say, this is maybe the first guest where I'm really nervous because I'm a huge USA basketball fan. I'm wearing my brand new Steve, am I wearing my USA basketball polo?
He's got his USA polo on today, Coach.
I do. So my first question for you, Coach, you've coached the U16 and U17 teams to unflawed success. Understanding that each of these teams is different, what's the process like to get the best out of each team as you build success year after year?
Yeah, that's a great question. One that I've been asked, quite often, as a matter of fact. But I think when you bring in, as Steve knows, we bring in 30, 35, 40 players in each class, grade that are really the best in the country. And when you do that, you're going to mold them into a great team, and to do that, we have a culture that we try and get a hold of right from the start with the kids. These kids, when they come in, they're all the best players on their teams. They all can basically do what they want to on their teams because they are the best player, and of course, that's no fault of anybody's, but that's just how it is with the players that are outstanding level. So we have to really build roles because a lot of the players have to have different roles than they have on their team. That's part of our culture and how we go about that.
Coach, Steve here.
Yeah,
I'm gonna take you away from the court. You have something that you put out on Instagram, and I'm sorry, on Twitter, a lot, and that's your mind candy.
Yep.
Give us a mind candy for today, but also talk to us about why you put that out and kind of what it means to you.
The mind candy was started with our first group in 2009 and 10. Brad Beal, Andre Drummond, Michael Gilchrist, Mark Teague, Tony wrote, and that was a pretty good group we had. And that was our first. I just got that idea from a college coach who started his practices with what he called a mind candy. And a lot of us coaches, I think, start with some significant thing, significant phrase that kind of gets your players thinking about how to get ready for practice and how to get their mind ready for the competition. So that's kind of the mind candy that we start out with. And some of my favorite mind candies, in fact, Jabari Parker's favorite mind candy, he still, we text back and forth, he still says to this day that his favorite mind candy was pressure can cause pipes to burst or coal to be made into diamonds. And he said, I use that, just remember that whenever I'm playing and there's spells of pressure, that pressure can really be used for the good. So those are just examples of what mind candy is. And we use these in practice before we start practice. We have a team meeting every day, and the players write down mind candy for the day. And then we have a player or two or three stand up and give how that mind candy reflects on our team or his ability. And so you get some communication work in there with that as well. But it's probably one of the best things that I think we've done to really get the kids' mindset toward practice. And I swear by it all the time. We do it. I think it really has done more for us from the mental standpoint.
Thank you, Coach.
Coach, Casey O'Neill here, and real quick, what you just mentioned, appreciate that answer, and that's using social media in such a good way because, as all coaches know, it can be used by the young men and women in a bad way. But appreciate you you sharing that. But I want to go back to your first answer from Kurtis's question about coaching the best kids in their age group in the country, not country in the world. But I have an opportunity in some summers to coach in an All-America games, and we represent DC and go against teams from around the country, and in a similar way get the best players not only in the area but in the country as we prepare to go to these national games. And when we're evaluating and trying to put this team together for this summer event, we're going into that point where we're trying to find the guys that they might be the best player in their team, but we're going to ask them to do something totally different so that we can ultimately try to win this championship. And if you could you go a little bit deeper onto when you're evaluating a young man and playing, how do you know that kid is going to be all about the team, not about the individual, is going to do, if you want him to go in there and take a charge, he's going to do it instead of say, no, I don't take charge as coach. How do you get deeper into evaluating that player to build around the team?
Yeah, that's really a loaded question because I think there's like 5 pillars that I use to evaluate players. I mean, I try and go see every player that we invite in person because I think that's the best way you really can evaluate players. Because, as you said, a player might be really good on your team or in your area, but you compare him to somebody else in a different part of the country,
right?
He might be just average. So when I watch him, I think there's really 5 things that I really watch about players. We call them 5 pillars DNA, basically. They got to be smart. When I watch them play on the court, are they smart players? Do they have a good high basketball IQ? I guess the best way to put it. Second, are they tough? Hard word to define, but when you see a player who's tough, you know that he is tough. Taking charges, ball on the floor. I look at Jalen Suggs. He's really a tough player, tough kid. And it was great to coach, by the way. Third thing is skill. They got to be able to use both the right and left hand. Shoot the basketball, rebound, good footwork. Versatile is 4th pillar. They got to be able to play more than one position. They got to be able to guard several positions. That's being versatile. And then the last thing is resilience. Might be the most important. How are they when things don't go really well? If you're playing against an Argentina or a France gold medal game and something doesn't go quite right on the court, how are you seeing it? Can they play the next play? Can they do those things that are going to be resilient enough they can come back and be a really good player? So those are 5 areas that I really evaluate the players on. And then you combine that with things that take zero talent. And I say these take zero talent. Any player that I go watch, whether they're the best player or the worst player, can do these. Being on time, have great work, great effort on the court, super body language. I don't. We've not taken players because of their negative body language that we see. Energy level, attitude, passion, being coachable. When you combine these things that take zero talent with 5 pillars that I just talked about, then you have a special player. And you're going to ask players. I mean, we've asked a great example. Jalen Green played for us. He was the MVP of our U17 team in 2018. And we asked him. We said, we're going to be better if you come off the bench. So he actually didn't even start for us on our World Championship team, but he ended up getting MVP. And that's a great example of what Jalen's value to us was that he just said whatever it takes to win a gold medal, he would do. And I think that's a great example for kids as well to hear. Another great example is Colin Sexton. Colin Sexton wasn't even good enough when he was 15 to be invited to a UC training camp. We saw him then during the season and during the spring workouts, and then we invited him for a U17. And again, he came off the bench for us, but he ended up being MVP of the World Championship in Zaragoza, Spain. So two great examples of guys that have really said, we'll do whatever we have to do for USA basketball to win a gold medal. And those are the kind of guys that we really want on our team, that have that desire and to give up themselves a little bit so that we can win gold medals.
Love
and
it.
You're not going to get that in every kid. But when we get them together, when we get 30 guys together, we cut them down to 14 and then 12, we get a pretty good idea of their attitude, work ethic, and if they're acceptable for us. And so I think those are 2 great examples of what we were talking about.
I appreciate that. Great answer. Thank you.
Speaking about that international game, it has certainly moved into different territory with shooters coming in all sizes. So the typical shooting guard has made space for the 7-footer who can also shoot with range. How do you find your teams and strategy adjusting to this era of that game, the long ball?
Yeah, I think the international game really kind of brought that about in the United States. We see a lot of international players. I think one of the things, to backtrack a little bit, one of the things that we are trying to do a much better job of with our youth programs and youth coaches is to emphasize that all players need to develop all skills. And this comes directly from a lot of the international clubs, teams that we look at. Spain is a great example. Argentina is a great example. France is really starting to do it, where they don't box a player to a certain position, and when you let them or allow them to develop skills, to develop their overall game, I think you really can develop a player. And so our youth, we see our youth teams nowadays. Some of them really have done a great job of developing all the skills. I mean, in other words, they can all develop in shooting from perimeter as well as shooting from inside, because what you have is now maybe a 7th grader. It's the biggest player on his team. And so he kind of dominates play just at the size. Well, you jump ahead forward 2 or 3 years, and he's still the same size as he was in 7th grade. But he doesn't have the skills to play anyplace else at the post. so you really limited him to what he could do. And so I think that's really a great example of what we're talking about, is that we need to develop all skills for all players. And I would go a step further, saying that, the skills, we never graduate from a skill, which means that no matter how good we are, we still got to work on shooting, ball handling, footwork, pounding, sprint, passing, those kind of things. Curry's arguably the best shooter in the basketball, but I've seen him after practice make 300 shots before he goes home. So he's still in that mode of working on that shooting, and where he could just easily say, I'm the best shooter in basketball, I don't really have to work on it. So I go back to the fact that we're not good enough. Players are never good enough to graduate from the skill. They still have to keep working on those skills.
Coach Show, Steve here.
Yes.
With all that has gone on in the last year in high school basketball and college basketball, and now I'm speaking to the transfer portal, colleges being able to take young men back for another year. My fear, I keep saying, is the high school kid going to go extinct? What advice might you give to a family now of a kid of a class of 2021 who's season's over, not hearing from any colleges, or even the kids who are in the year behind, the 2022 class, and where they would normally be being recruited heavily right now, getting ready to go into this AAU season? Is there any advice that you would give to these families in terms of how they might want to proceed going forward with these changes that have now occurred at the college level that is definitely going to affect the kids at the high school level?
Yeah, Steve, I mean, you probably raised the biggest contention for players not getting seen, especially during these past 2 years. And players are going into the portal now, transfer portal, and basically, they're eligible right away. So colleges, what I last read is over 1,000 players in the transfer portal.
Yep.
So colleges are going to that first, without going to the high school players. And then secondly, that has really affected just the seniors getting recruited, and probably not the top senior. You take a look at your top 20 kids in the 21 and 22 class; they're still going to get heavily recruited and can go about any place they want to. But I think it's probably those kids who maybe are 20 through 100 who normally would get a high Division I offer, but colleges are just waiting to see who they get in the portal. They're just waiting to see who transfers out of their system, and then you throw that in with the fact that coaches are kind of waiting to see who stays with them, because now that extra year is in the books. They can stay if they want to for an extra year and play. So those two combined have really probably took a really toll on some high school players getting recruited. What I would say on this is, I think players have to really be patient in what they're doing. But I think the second thing is pursue the opportunity. I mean, if a college coach calls my son and says, we're hesitant, we're waiting on the transfer portal or whatever, I would really do a good job as far as if I'm a player or a parent of making sure I stay in contact with those coaches, because I think that's important, that the communication is still there. You can't drop that communication. So if something falls through for them, you're there for that next invitation to be on their team. Secondly, what I would do is, again, some kids who are going to get high D1 offers are not going to get mid-major or low D1 offers. Some kids who are or Division II offers. So I think that you have to really evaluate what's going to be best for you in the long run, because basically, unless you're in the top 20, you may not be an NBA player. What you're thinking of is, how can I get my best education for free? is what it comes down to. And can I do that at a low, mid D1? Can I do it at a D2? Can I be happy at it? Some players I recommend say, you know what, you go where you're going to play and have a lot of fun at, as opposed to go maybe sit on the bench for 2 years or 3 years and then not be happy with the school. Go where you like the school and you're going to get some playing time, because in the end, that's going to be what's going to really be the best for you. And you know, I guess you got to be patient and persistent at the same time with those things.
Great advice, Coach. Thank you.
Coach Casey O'Neill here. So I want to talk quickly about end game for each year with these groups. And clearly you make this team and young men and say, you know, our goal is to win a gold medal. But for you and the coaches, what are you telling the parents or the young man that outside of that gold medal, this is the end game? This is what we want to see you young men grow up to be, or what they can get out of this experience with USA basketball?
Yeah, great question, because, you know, we're in it not just for that 1 or 2 times that they're with us for, you know, 4 or 5 weeks. Mm. We want to stay in contact with those players throughout their career, and then some. I mean, the really the fun part to it is personally my relationship with these players once they get out, once they don't play for us anymore. You know, Brad Beal, you know, we still text back and forth about, you know, different things, and then guys like, you know, Jabari Parker, who's had kind of a up and down NBA career, even though he's made a ton of money. You know, he's been injured, he's had struggles, but we're there for those guys, and I think the relationship that we build during 5 or 6 period for a summer or 2 with those kids, really at a young age, being 16 or 17, has really benefited them and benefited USA back.
Right.
Because we're still a big part of their lives, and they're still making decisions. At U16, you know, I look at those pictures of guys that we coached. You know, Quinn Cook has been through a ton in the NBA, but he's making a great living, and he's been one of those kids who has no baggage with him, who's just going to do whatever he's asked, going to work hard. And we stayed in contact with those guys just to let them know that we you know, if we can help them, or that we're still supporting them, and that we're watching them, and that we still have a very fond relationship with those guys. So I think that extends from the fact that we were with them 4 or 5 weeks. And, you know, as Steve knows, when you're with them in a mini camp or something, you really get attached to those kids,
right?
In different ways. You know, you realize that, you know, they're more than just a really good basketball player at 16 years old, and they don't even know how good they are when it comes to us. They have no clue how good they are. You know, at 16 or 17, you know, they're having fun. They're nervous. Jason Tatum told me the most nervous he has ever been was when he came to our U16. First time he came to our U16 training camp, because, you know, he said, I knew I was good in St. Louis, but he said, you know, now I'm with 30 other players, and I got to make this. You know, I'm trying to make this team, and they're all really good. He said I was more nervous there than I was in my first NBA game. So it's really, you know, so it's really kind of a neat thing how it kind of comes back to, you know, to their, I guess the best thing, to their maturity level, and letting them mature as young players into really adult men as they get on with their careers. And just to watch them has been fantastic.
Appreciate it.
Coach, 10 gold medals, 600 plus games won in your high school career, 42 seasons. What are a couple things that your most successful teams or players all have in common?
You know, when you ask that question, I go back to saying, you know, sometimes the most successful teams in my mind that I have had have not been the ones who have won championships or, have been the best skilled kids. Sometimes the best teams I've had, and I look back on I'll just use, for example, a USA team, probably one of my, they're all my favorites. But one of the teams I really enjoyed was Jalen Suggs, Evan Mobley, Scotty Barnes. That group was Isaiah Stewart, Vernon Carey. What made that team so special was not those 5 pillars that we look at. It was the things that they could do that takes no talent. That's what made them special. It was the great body language. It was the communication. It was the effort, the coachability. And I look all those things up, and I think to myself, the reason those teams are special are because they did the things that take no talent. And that team was definitely one of them. And same with my high school teams. I've been very fortunate to have some really good state teams and one big at some levels. But sometimes it's a team maybe who finishes about 3 games over 500 who you didn't think could win 3 or 4 games that come back and say, man, that was a special team because of the things they did to really maximize their abilities. And sometimes that brings back really good memories, but also is great learning for teams that sometimes didn't live up to their expectations. And even though they might have been a state tournament team, you thought they could live up to their expectations because you had 1 or 2 who didn't buy into your system, who didn't buy into the fact that, if we're going to win, if we're going to do the best we can, we've got to make sure our effort is consistent every practice and every game as well. So that's just kind of a long explanation to your short question.
Thank you, sir.
Coach Show, Steve here again.
Yeah.
You are arguably one of the best in the business. Your record speaks for itself. I've been blessed to be able to be around you over the last couple of years with USA Basketball. And I would like to know from you, who were the people that helped mold you into being the coach that you are today and have been able to be for the young men that you've coached? And what were some of the things that they gave to you or that they spoke to that you felt like you needed to be a part of the core of who you are as a coach?
Yeah, that's a great question again, Steve. Steve, part of that answer is that I think we all have mentors in our life. And I think especially basketball to me, basketball coaches, I think we are we're the group that really wants to help people become better coaches. I look at football coaches and sometimes they're so secretive about what they do. They don't want to give out information. I'm not sure about lacrosse coaches. I've been around too many lacrosse coaches, but I think they're pretty much the same as basketball coaches. So I think having mentors in your life is so important. If coaches that are listening to this, if you want to grow and be the best you can be as a coach and a person, you need to have mentors in your life, no matter how many years you've been coaching. And I go back to the fact that it's easy just to go on your internet and check out YouTube and get a shooting drill that's really good, or you can buy dozens and dozens of DVD tapes and listen to Bill Self and people, and that's all well and good. And I'm not saying that's not good, but what you miss out on is actually working a camp, getting to know coaches, communicating things, letting them get to know you. I mean, I would never be where I am today had I not worked camps as a young coach. I loved working camps. I was a camp freak as a coach because I wanted to learn. I not only wanted to learn, but also I wanted to meet people who are really successful. A great story for me was right out of college, I wrote a letter to John Woods at UCLA and said, "Hey, can I work can I be a counselor at your camp?" And not thinking I would ever give an answer. Well, I got a letter back from him, a handwritten note that said, you know what, if at this time we have no openings, but I'm going to give your name to a guy, Chris Smith, who hires our coaches. And and I thought, I read it and I go, well, that's all well and good, but you know how often that occurs. I'll never get a chance. Well, about a week before camp started, Chris called me and says, hey, I was just before my senior year in college, we need a counselor because we have an additional number of campers. Can you come out and work Coach Woods' camp as a counselor? And I go, oh, I'm there. And that kind of started me. And I worked Coach Woods' camps for 25 years, 26
awesome.
years. So for young coaches to really invest time, and that just, to me, that just showed me that, I had to step out of my comfort zone and make that type of initial contact with somebody who I really wanted to work their camp. And, through that, you meet so many people, and that's through that I got to work USA basketball camps and was part of it before they started the FIBA thing. And just a lot of different things became out because of that interaction with coaches and people at Woods Camp. And then I think clinics are the same way. And again, I'm giving a little bit of a long answer to your question, but we can get so many things just on the internet that we don't feel sometimes we have to go attend clinics. And Steve, I'm sure you were the same as me when we were just out of college or young coaches. Man, I went to clinic wherever I could. I wanted to go in person and watch, meet people, and see what the next best thing in basketball was, as opposed to just going on the internet. Of course, at that time the internet was just starting out, so I didn't have much of a choice. But you get that from in-person experience. You just cannot replace that. And for young coaches nowadays that are listening, you need to make yourself available for camps and clinics, and then that's how you really start the process of getting to meet people and your career really taking off.
Coach, when you mentioned football coaches and lacrosse coaches, I simply just follow Steve Turner wherever he goes, and then that's how I learn. I just translate that right out to the lacrosse field. I'm going to ask
you are one smart coach.
That's it.
Do that.
I'm at Steve Turner's clinics, camps, and taking notes, and I have done so for 14 years now. So I'm going to take you off the court for a second, and away from no basketballs, and with the group. And put you on the spot here. And I know you got a lot of favorite moments, but is there one favorite moment with Team USA basketball that you have off the court with the fellas, with the group, some type of special moment that you can share with the audience?
There's when we take a team to a place where we have competition, we try and give them some of the take them to some of the things that in that area that are, special, whether it be architecture, old churches or museums or buildings, or just seeing some of the sites. But I think my favorite time was we actually had our U17 World Cup in Dubai in then Jason Tatum's 2016, and so we were all in Dubai, and of course that's a place that not many people have been to, let alone knowing really what's there. But it's very it's a very wealthy part of the world, and we took the kids on probably the best experience we had was we took the kids on a safari ride. Wow! And what the safari ride was, we went in we had vehicles, Range Rovers. Of course, they take the air out of the tires enough that they're really good on sand. But I mean, they took us out on like sand hills. Not sure exactly what the proper terminology is for them, but we went up and down on these sand hills, and it was amazing. I mean, you talk about rides that you never forget. But we had a few coaches. Eric Flannery's one of those. So ask me about this, but they really got sick in their Jeep, and Jason Tatum, Josh Jackson, when they got done, they were a little queasy about it. But it was so much fun. It's something that you can't do in the United States,
Right.
and the kids can't do anywhere else. So those are the kind of experiences that we like to have. Give players when we're out on the road and have a day or two where we don't have games. They need to see what it's like in other parts of the world and broaden their horizons as well. But that's one of my favorites. I think another one of my favorites, was we go to orphanages a lot. Last one we had was when Jalen Suggs and Evan Mobley and Scotty Barnes, those guys were with us at the World Cup in Argentina. We took them to an orphanage, and there was about probably 40 or 50 kids at that orphanage. And to hear the adults tell us, some of the people that work there tell us some of the stories about these little kids, ages 2 through probably 13 or 14, of what they experienced in their life. It was really kind of traumatizing for a lot of the players to really view that as this is what really happened. But then for them to interact with the kids, playing basketball, and the kids just adored them. And those are really special experiences. We did that with most of our teams, where we take them to an orphanage in that area, and just to watch the kids, their eyes get so big and bright when they see our big guys come in, and they're all, our guys are really good, and they hold them and they play with them, and it's just a neat experience. And it's great for our kids. It probably does as much for our kids as it does for the little kids in the orphanage. For them to give back a little bit of themselves to make that a special day for those little kids.
Coach, usually I wait until the end to say this, but I want to stop you there and thank you for doing that. You're making these young men, these U16s and U17s, more than just basketball players. You're making them global citizens. You're making them care about something outside of their footprint and make an impact on the community. But now we get to have some fun. We have something here called the Starting Five, and typically I will ask our coaches here some questions they've never heard, and they get 30 seconds to answer. If they go over those 30 seconds, DJ Krissy is going to sound a bell, and I'm only going to ask you one question, though. You only get one, Coach Show.
Okay.
So here goes. My question to you is as follows. What music does Coach Showalter listen to get himself game ready?
What music do I? Well, I don't have much choice because usually the music is going on in the locker room with the kids.
So if you were on your own and you had your headphones on, what are you listening to?
Well, I go. I mean, this is going to date me, obviously, and so Steve, don't laugh. But I'm a huge Beatles fan.
Oh, all right.
So I grew up with the Beatles. I love the Beatles. All their songs. That would be my take on the best music.
We can go Twist and Shout. We can go When I'm 64. We can go the Black Album. We can go whatever you want, Coach. We can do Beatles with you if you want. So look, Coach Showalter, this has been our honor to absolutely have you on the show. I'm going to tell folks that they can connect with you on Twitter at DShow23 on Twitter. Coach Turner, what do you want to say to Coach Showalter?
I got two questions for you, real quick. Quick questions for you, Coach. Been around you enough to know you're going to have a good meal before this game tonight. Tell everybody what the cut of steak is, and then give us who you got. And then give us who you got winning tonight.
Okay. Well, first of all, yesterday we're in Indianapolis, so I kind of go back between steaks. If you follow my Twitter account,
I'm looking at the steak right now.
We saw the steaks
We're looking at it right now that your son grilled yesterday.
Yep. I bought the steak, and he grilled them, so it's a good combo there. But New York strips. I tell you what, I'm going to have tonight, though. I'm going to have a nice big fillet, Coach Turner, and it's going to be one of the best. It's at St. Elmo's, and I'm going to go. I have to. Well, it's interesting. I don't really cheer for teams anymore as much as I cheer for or really hope that players that played for us do well. But I've got to go with Suggs' team, Gonzaga. And I hope, boy, that shot he hit at the end was, that was vintage Jalen Suggs. It was just vintage Jalen Suggs. And I hope they have enough left in their tank that they can get Baylor tonight.
Yes.
Coach, we really appreciate this time. I am a huge Team USA fan. From everything you do on the men's and women's side, we just appreciate having you here. I appreciate what you've shown my kids on the iPad. And look, Coach, I'm glad we have a few weeks off because those basketballs bouncing in my house every Sunday and every Wednesday. But let me tell you, they are very attentive because after you do the hour, you do the coach talk, and they are listening to you at the dining room table. I will make sure next time I pass by the screen, I wave to you. But I'm Kurt Cross. We have Coach Casey O'Neill, Coach Turner. We thank you, ladies and gentlemen, taking the TO with us today. Undefeated in USA basketball play, 600-plus career wins as a high school coach, Coach Don Showalter. Thanks, Coach.
It's been great.
Hey, Coach Show, we appreciate you. Enjoy your time out there. We'll see you soon.
Thank you, Coach. Great to talk to you.
Thanks, Steve. Appreciate it. All right.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is Coach Don Showalter, legendary. Does he have a blemish on his U16 and U17 record?
No.
Not a one. All that gold. I mean, he can share the gold. Why he got to have all the gold?
Instead of the ding, it's the bling, bling, bling.
Right, it's bling with him, right? It's bling with him. DJ Krissy, let's have a word from our sponsors.
Building your brand is an important part of your business growth. By advertising with Take a TO with Turner and O'Neill, you'll gain the exposure and brand recognition behind our podcast. In Season 1, we reached a total of more than 100,000 listeners, viewers, subscribers, and website visitors combined. Your company will benefit from our popularity online and during the podcast. Advertising with Turner and O'Neill equals exposure on Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, Spotify, YouTube, and more than 15 listening platforms total. Inquire today and let's partner to build your brand. At Peace Players, we use the power of sport to unite, educate, and inspire young people to create a more peaceful world. We offer sport programming, peace education, and leadership development to those living in communities in conflict. We challenge the hate that is driven by the fear of our differences. We bridge divides between people through the game of basketball, and we develop young leaders who help to change perceptions. Find out more at www.peaceplayers.org.
Next Level Lacrosse. Train like a Spartan. Next Level Lacrosse is dedicated to providing a terrific lacrosse experience that is intensely focused on player development and character formation. Players at all levels will improve significantly through professional coaching and carefully designed training programs. We stress proper technique and a tireless work ethic. From beginning programs to rec leagues, travel clubs to summer programs, we develop the young and experienced players alike. Next Level Lacrosse has a rich tradition of running the best middle and high school lacrosse leagues in the DMV area. You will find us at www.nextlevelspartans.com or call 240-497-1460. This segment of Take a TO with Turner and O'Neill is sponsored by
the Tamara Cusick Team. Ready, set, sold. Real estate is more than just houses. It's about people too. The Tamara Cusick Team offers an all-inclusive approach, making the home buying and selling process efficient, financially smart, and stress-free for you. From home prep-up to complimentary staging, expert counsel to an experienced and qualified team of professionals, let's chat houses. The Tamara Cusick Team isn't just a partner. They literally sold us the home where the Take a TO broadcasts from each week. Visit www.tamara4homes, that's the number 4.com, or call 301-780-4663.
Portions of the podcast were previously recorded. Now, back to Take a TO with Turner and O'Neill. We are back with Take a TO with Turner and O'Neill. Thank you for listening and watching as we enjoy meeting you right here each week. Thrilled to have had Coach Showalter join us for the previous segment. Coach Turner, thank you. You brought him on. You're a Team USA guy. You know, for me, USA basketball means a ton to me. But let me tell you what I got out of his segment. The one thing I got is to talk about and do the things that don't take talent. Yes, we want a guy who's 6'10 and who can jump through the gym. Yes, we want the best shooters. But if you have the best shooter and he doesn't do like Steph and still work on his craft, if you have a guy that all he can do is play back to the basket but can't dribble, can't rebound, can't defend, can't get out on the perimeter, what do you have? So the things that don't take talent, the heart, the effort, the resilience, the ability to be coachable, those are the things that I got out of what he said because, Coach, you've had a kid on your team who couldn't jump out of the gym, but he needed to be there for the continuity of the team and for whatever it is. Maybe you, I'm not calling out any names, maybe you brought him onto your crew because you needed to help him. This is what he needed in that season, not necessarily what the Purple Eagles needed. But those players. Coach O'Neill, those players. Yep. What did you guys get from Don Showalter and his DNA with USA Basketball?
Not just from what I got from his DNA, but I loved what he said in reference to young coaches.
Going to those clinics.
Yes.
Getting out there and putting yourself out there. And I think that's something that stands in all walks of life. Sometimes you won't get what you want if you don't go ask. Right. And sometimes we wait and pray and pray.
When
is
it my turn?
Something's
right?
going to be my turn. But if you don't put yourself out there to people, they won't know.
Right.
Yeah. A couple things stood out to me. Number one, calm, cool customer that he is. I'd love to meet him in person and have a steak with him too. I could tell he loves his players, and it's just so neat to hear him talk about the players that have moved on, whether it's Tatum, Beal, so on and so forth. And he's so proud of those guys because he had that opportunity. The 5 pillars he talked about, the one that stood out when he talked about that toughness.
Yep.
Always the competing and the toughness. Because these guys show up to these teams, and you got to battle to make the team, and then you got to battle if you're not getting enough time mentally to be tough when you do get your chance to get on the court. And probably the most outstanding thing that I heard him talk about was being versatile and learning the game.
Yeah.
Because he mentioned you could have a 7th grader that's the tallest in his age group, and he's playing on the post, and he's posting people up and playing the 4 or the 5. And then he doesn't get any taller by high school, and then everyone outgrows him. And so where's his ball handling skills? Or can he play the 2 guard or be a point guard? So we talk about it all the time in lacrosse is learn every part of the game, defensively, offensively, face-off, goalies, whatever it is, so that when your number's called or you have to make an adjustment, you can just understanding the entire game. Mm-hmm. And that to me was awesome to hear.
Mad respect for the players on his teams who over the years could not earn that starting spot, or actually maybe in any other year could, but agreed that their best value to the team was coming off the bench.
Yes.
And
that's the making sacrifices.
Right.
So, sometimes, you are the best player, but we would benefit better as a team by bringing you off the bench.
I need you to run my second unit.
And being all the way bought in to the team, not just me. That's definitely something else that stood out to me.
Creates matchup nightmares. That team gets their starters a little tired, and then boom, here comes one of your better players off the bench to maybe extend this lead.
Tank is on 100%, huh?
Yeah,
ready to go. He's talking hungry. He's talking about 2 lottery picks,
right?
Who made that choice?
Who chose to come off the bench?
Who chose to come off the bench, accepted the role of coming off the bench,
right?
And were MVPs to gold medal teams.
I mean, isn't it?
So when you choose to buy into that, when you sacrifice the me for the we, right? You buy into that philosophy, knowing that you're going to run this second unit. You're one of my better defenders. I need you to lock someone down when this guy gets in foul trouble. When this guy's tank is a little bit empty. And if you make that sacrifice, look, at the end, this is what we want in the Olympics. We want to go in on day 1, and we want to be on a podium on day 13.
Yes, sir.
Or day 14.
When are people going to understand that the best players to ever play this game went through adversity? Not all the experiences that these kids and parents expect them, don't mean to go on a parent rant, is going to be perfect. Michael Jordan had to deal with adversity, getting cut. Didn't make varsity, till junior year or sophomore year, whatever it was.
Junior.
Had to deal with so many different things.
Well, what are you prepared to do? What are you prepared to do? Can you sacrifice that me for the we? Because if you want it bad enough, how many times, Steve, have you seen players in your own sport, in other sports, hasn't happened to Jared or Christian, where, they didn't get what they wanted out of this experience. Maybe they didn't get as much time as they wanted. Well, son, you got to go work on your ball handling. Or son, you've got to do this. Or a player you talk to, maybe even maybe a wrestler at your school that you had to counsel. I don't know, because you see more than your basketball players. You have a program down there on I Street where you see a ton of players. And there might be a golfer who comes into your office, your associate athletic director, and like, Coach, I'm not getting, why is Coach not spending more time?
Because the scorecard doesn't lie. That's why.
And, so you've seen these players before. You've literally seen hundreds and hundreds of players, and not all of them walk into a D1 scholarship.
And what did Coach Showalter say? How are you going to react to that? Because body language, I remember that's another thing.
Oh, he did say that.
Body language was a huge point. And so, I mean, I'm not saying the book is written, but it's kind of written for players and parents and folks to see that you just keep your head up, you keep working, you keep your attitude right, and just being a team player, it will pay off eventually.
Yes, sir.
You coaches will notice this.
Yes.
Right? Coaches will notice it. No, absolutely. We're coming right back with our weekly sports wrap-up. DJ Krissy, let's do it.
This segment of Take It To You with Turner and O'Neill is sponsored by
Ray P. Cruz, Mortgages Intelligently. Connect with us socially on Instagram and Facebook at Turner O'Neill Podcast, on Twitter at Turn On Podcast, on YouTube, just search Turner and O'Neill, then subscribe. And of course, you can visit our website at www.turnerando'neill.com.
Be sure to listen now at Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Buzzsprout, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, or Google Podcasts. Download the app and subscribe to the podcast so you don't miss an episode of Take It To You with Turner and O'Neill. If you're looking to increase sales and gain exposure, advertising opportunities are available. Contact our producer, Kurtis Cross, today. Email turnero'neillpodcast@gmail.com to get started.
This segment of Take It To You with Turner and O'Neill is sponsored by...
From Washington, D.C. to Ocean City, Woodbridge to Columbia, Richmond to Virginia Beach, the hottest DJs are right here. The Mid-Atlantic Professional DJ Association.
Current social distancing does not allow for event gatherings in the traditional sense. When it's time to plan your bar bat mitzvah, office party, sweet 16, or any event, we've got your party solution. Dynamic DJ Entertainment is your virtual event experts. Our virtual events division has perfected an entertainment experience like none other. We bring the celebration to you. Contact us for virtual trivia, office parties, nightclub nights, or any event. Dynamic DJ Entertainment is your virtual event solution. Visit www.mapdja.com or call 301-942-4500.
Portions of the podcast were previously recorded. Now, back to Take It To You with Turner and O'Neill.
Welcome back to Take It To You with Turner and O'Neill, where we don't watch basketball, we watch WWE in between commercials. This week's episode is brought to you by Ray Cruz and MCF Mortgage. Now, our weekly sports wrap-up. Look, fellas, we had one a heck of a Final Four in the women's tournament this past Friday night, with Stanford edging out South Carolina in a nail-biter. In a back-and-forth game, Tara Vanderveer's Cardinals showed the grit of the overall number one seed, beating Dawn Staley's South Carolina team, who had chances to win and good looks in the end to take the game, but the ball just wouldn't fall for them. In the second half of the Final Four matchup, Arizona, led by Ari McDonald's 26 points and 7 rebounds, led from wire to wire, beating UConn to advance to yesterday's national championship game. Props to Arizona Wildcats' Adia Barnes, who prepared her team to get to last night's matchup. And did you see she didn't apologize for what she said in the huddle afterwards, and I love it.
And she shouldn't have had to.
Exactly. Did you see what happened?
Yeah.
I
saw a clip of it.
Chelsea called it out right away.
My thing, I saw it right away.
Yeah, I didn't see it right away.
And I wasn't sure what she said.
Right.
All I worried was that I hope they don't screw this lady over.
Right.
Over what she just did. And I was just hoping that she wasn't saying it directed to the other team.
No.
Right.
And we found out that she didn't, and I'm cool with it.
But people that aren't involved with athletics would be utterly shocked at some of the things that are said in locker rooms with coaches to get the kids fired up or after games, and that's
some appropriate, some not.
That's social media. That is the world we're in with the cameras on these coaches and everything. They're going to get. She should have known better in that sense. You wait to get to the locker room, right? Make sure the phones are down.
But it's been tougher.
Sure.
Because of the pandemic and because of way things are being done.
Cameras can't go in the stands
sport.
right there.
It's sport. They're fired up and yeah. I don't blame her. I mean, she's
I'll tell you what.
fired up. She's
I
competitive.
can hear a lot more now when I'm doing a
Because
game.
there's no fans.
that-
You can hear it on the TV.
I've done some, not pointing at anyone out, I've done some WCAC games, and I've heard some things I didn't think I would hear at Catholic schools. That's all I'm saying. But
Might be worse.
I will tell you, in a public school game, I'll go public now.
No, it could be either.
I went down to a playoff game some years ago, and I will say it was Baltimore Poly, the women's coach, and I heard her say, I'm not going to say it all on the show. She said, if y'all don't want to play this effing game, you can get on the effing bus right now. And I mean loud as day, the whole gym. There's some things that are said.
It happens.
Right.
It certainly happens. You should hear a college club lacrosse game. NC State and Clemson
Oh,
this past
soccer.
Friday night.
Soccer.
I said, whoa.
In soccer, I've called some soccer games. There's a lot being said 'cause I'm right
It's
there.
sport. It happens.
All right, so
It
let's talk about
happens.
last night. Stanford versus Arizona, 54-53 Stanford. Ari McDonald, I've looked over the final 6.1 seconds of that game several times. With as much as 4 seconds left, Trinity Baptiste, 6-foot senior forward, is short corner extended. Her girl leaves her to go set a trap on McDonald. I don't understand why we're not moving towards the rim. I don't understand why we're not coming from short corner, moving to the rim. She gives Ari a line of sight to step through or to fake here. 4.5 seconds. We have enough time.
Plenty of time.
Fake here, get those big trees up, bounce pass. Baptiste is cutting back door. You win the game on a layup. Or if the one girl on Stanford's team who's trying to cover three because a third person came, if she cheats off, bounce pass across the lane, we're layup, and right now Arizona's flying home with a trophy. That's I think Ari should have passed.
I'm going to go back to
And I know it's a big stage, but she had just made a huge three-pointer after not shooting well in the first half.
She knows it. She understands it.
Right.
Two things on this, and I don't mean to bring up the Bulls and Michael Jordan, but he didn't win that first elusive championship until he moved the ball. And he threw it right at John Paxson when they won that first championship. So at times you've got to understand.
Every time we talk basketball, why he got to bring up a white boy shooting? Why you got to bring up the white boy shooting?
Oh, what are you talking about? Go to the record. But
no, that's from the Coming to America movie.
My heart goes out to those Arizona Wildcats, because that's the high of the high to knock out UConn. I mean, the giant.
Right.
And then 2 days later, just gut-wrenching loss. And a good, entertaining game. Kudos to Stanford, the Stanford Cardinal, by the way.
Correct, Cardinal.
Cardinal, not plural. Winning. Is that their first championship or the first one in 30 years?
In 29
First
years.
one in 29 years.
29
Vanderveer
years. So,
coached both of those teams.
I don't know enough about the individuals to comment or what she should or should have done, but she did have the ball a long time, and it's just tough. My heart goes out.
One thing I do want to say, the only thing I would change, I wanted overtime. I mean, I did not want this year's Final Four for those women to end. And I think in a minute we're going to talk about something similar for the men's. Your take, Coach?
She's the best player on the court for them. I have no problem with her taking the shot. Certainly, I'm sure there were some things that were drawn up. They got taken away. Stanford did something that they weren't sure. They didn't know that that they were going to run three at her, and they did. And she took a tough shot. It almost went in.
If that thing had gone in, boy.
It almost went in, yeah.
It was on target.
Yeah.
It almost went in. Heartbreaking. I mean, we could talk about, does she make another play that potentially wins the game? Well, we could talk about 100 other plays during the game, both ways that could have made that game go a different way.
And
a lot of bunnies missed.
I need Trinity Baptiste.
I'm going to go to this for them. Mm-hmm. Make free throws.
Oh, my.
They missed a lot of free throws.
Oh, my. And did UConn miss free throws
Yes.
in the game before as well?
UConn lost that game because they missed a lot of free throws, and they missed a lot of bunnies. They missed a lot of layups.
Yeah.
What did Coach Showalter talk about? The fundamentals, the dribbling, the free throws, the shooting, and the working on that. And that's
I guess for me as coaching, I never looked to that one play. There's always a multiple plays if you go back and watch the film.
Yeah, let me make sure that I'm clear on that. I'm not.
No, I know
that.
I know that. But yeah, in hindsight,
I need Trinity Baptiste to come from the corner and just go. What do you tell your big men? Just go to the rim. Just go to the rim. I'm going to give this one line, and then I will rebut some of the things you say. But I will start our next segment off with, did Jalen Suggs call game? Did he call game?
Yeah, he called game.
Go for it, sir.
He called game. What I thought was great, and it's obviously a part of who Coach Few is. A lot of times we panic. Mm-hmm. They score a quick timeout. He just let them play.
Let them play.
He let them play. And what I think happened in letting them play, they didn't get a chance to set up.
It's
Their guys,
natural.
you watch their guys, they're all in retreat. And he Respert, who got scored on the play to tie the game, got the ball out quickly, put it in Suggs' hands, and quarterback did the work.
Who's their big man? Looks like he's 37 years old with that beard.
Timmy, and he's only a sophomore.
He's only a sophomore.
That youngin shows some moves.
Well, his footwork is as good as anybody in the game.
What?
At
It
any level.
Yeah, it is.
His footwork is unbelievable.
I mean, step through.
And what I love about Timmy, he shows that he loves to play the game.
Yeah.
Like he loves the game. Win, lose, or draw. He hasn't done a lot of losing, but
Right.
He loves to play the game, and he shows it outwardly in his emotions and who he is as a player. And I think that their team has been so loose as a group. It's why they've had so much success, and they just love to play with each other. Like there's no one worrying about who's the star. Like, and to me that makes something special. I hope they can go out
Coach
tonight.
O'Neal, did you
and
make
get the
it?
W.
Did you make it through all games on a Saturday night?
Yeah, I as I mentioned earlier in the show, I was nice and cozy. Had the boy there and the older daughter watching, and he woke me up at the right time, right when that charge was taken before overtime. Right, it could have been the game-winning basket. But a couple things about what Coach did at the end. I'm a big believer in in lacrosse. It's that sudden victory, or they don't say sudden death anymore.
I noticed that in the Carolina Duke game.
It's sudden victory. They don't say that. But I'm a big proponent of not taking that timeout to give the other team that opportunity to set up. I think, however, if UCLA went up 1, then he
may have to call it.
Then he calls it there. But theory is any championship run, any season, dream season that Gonzaga is certainly having right now is not going to go without that type of adversity and the game that they had. They almost needed that game, I think, on Saturday night to hopefully get through what they get through tonight. That type of challenge and to not back down. If you kind of go through just, rivers and beautiful trees and it's just easy and sunny and no, they needed
you get
that.
punched in the
and it's
face.
going to be a good game, but they needed that test.
They got a tough one tonight. I mean, I think I've said all along, I think this is the only team that can beat them. And now you're getting them in the final game. It was a game that was supposed to be played during the regular season.
Sure was.
They got put aside due to COVID. And now we're getting what we asked for.
So Saturday night, of course, so I'm just falling asleep. He says, you got to see this. I wake up, see that, but now I'm wide awake. I couldn't fall asleep for like another hour and 2 hours after that game. And then you go to Twitter, because I love seeing Twitter on what people say. And my favorite comment, there are onions, and then there are major onions.
Right?
With the kiss.
And he got that kiss.
He got the kiss, and you can go and then listen to the Gonzaga radio announcers call it.
Okay.
You can listen to the ESPN radio broadcast. I haven't heard in Spanish if they have it in that one. I want to hear that. I just love hearing when
I'll tell you
announcers are
what.
like, "Ah!"
The guy that was at the media table when Suggs jumped up on it, got up and grabbed his stuff.
He's like, I'm out.
Well, you guys have finally done it. Okay, are you happy, Coach Turner?
We got you. We got you in.
You got me in the fold.
Got you in.
You got me in the fold. I'm an NBA fan first, but you got me with Paula. She loves it more than I do. Now, of course, the women's side. I'm always watching that, but this has been some great basketball. I hate superlatives. I won't say it's the best Final Four, the best tournament.
Yeah,
for me, it probably is because I've been more vested in this one. I've seen more games.
Yeah.
Man, that was good. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to move on to lacrosse. Coach, I got to talk to you about something. Something I did not know, and I wanted you to answer this for me on the show. If I shoot the ball in basketball and it hits the rim and it goes out of bounds, it's the other team's ball.
Sure.
If I shoot in lacrosse, I don't even know if I'm holding the stick right, but if I shoot in lacrosse and it hits the crossbar, the sidebar, and it goes out of bounds, it's not necessarily the other team's ball. Talk to me about that.
Yeah, that's a rule to a fan who doesn't know the game as well. That's very confused. Now,
so I'm ignorant.
You
call me ignorant. So I'm a big dummy when it comes to lacrosse. Thanks. You told all of our podcast listening audience I'm a big dummy. Thank you.
Say that again. Can we get that on recording?
Krissy's over there laughing.
He said it. I don't know where
you called me a big dummy, but can you educate the people about lacrosse?
So in every other part of the game, last person to touch it outside of shooting the ball is the other team's ball.
Or big dummy.
If we're teammates and I throw it to you and you don't catch it,
like a big dummy,
like a big old dummy, then it's the other team's ball.
Right.
But on a shot, which again can be subjective because a lot of times folks will take what they look as a pass and they'll say, "Oh no, I was shooting it." So no, the refs usually know. It's the closest to wherever it goes out of bounds. You can have a lot of subjective calls that, coaches can argue with the officials, but it makes the game fun. It makes the defensive guys work hard to chase to the end line or sideline. And, at the end of the day, in the game of lacrosse, it's about speed. It's about putting the ball in the hoop, just like in basketball. Same defensive, a lot of the same terminology, a lot of the same footwork, cutting through picks, fighting through picks, working together, sliding.
Your clears, your rides.
So, again, if it clears.
Like that?
Look at you.
This dude is getting it in.
You like that?
The dummy meter just went down. Here it comes.
Can I get a little props for that?
Yeah, the meter was going up.
On that
you got props.
You got props on that.
So let's talk some college lacrosse here for a minute. The game is, go ahead.
You texted us, and UNC Duke was on.
1 and 2.
Great game.
Xfinity, by
overtime.
the way. Xfinity.
Right. Oh no!
They don't
Hold on.
have the ACC network.
No, hold on.
Xfinity.
Time
Get
out.
the ACC network. Enough is enough.
I was going to start a petition.
Enough is enough.
I want our people. Coach Turner does not have the ACC network. He subscribes to Xfinity. Here I am with my sorry YouTube TV, which is great, by the way, so it's not sorry. And I'm watching it. Coach Turner wants to watch lacrosse. He loves it more than I do. Xfinity does not have the ACC network.
Ridiculous.
Can we get a petition? Everyone even if you're not an Xfinity fan or an Xfinity subscriber.
out.
But it's part of the ESPN family, I guess.
So you have to do the ESPN Plus or Hulu or something, and then go through an app to get to that. That's stupid.
Stupid.
You had all these other networks on. Put the ACC.
It's
Put it
home.
on.
It's home stuff.
This is home area. Let's go.
Look, for the sport of lacrosse, and we've heard our guests talk about it. Even DeMaurice Smith.
I guess because Maryland goes to the Big Ten. Now we don't need that the ACC network. Come on, man. Let's go.
Let's go. Well, 1 versus 2, what a treat to watch.
Yeah,
and I was texting with you guys about mentioning coaching in the Under Armour, All-America games with, a dozen of the kids on that field. And that's the beauty, and Don was talking about earlier, and when you do it with USA Basketball, where you work with kids in camps, the beauty is seeing them play at that level. Or you got to either play against those kids or you work with them for a couple weeks, and it's amazing to watch the skill level. 1 versus 2.
And we got bonus
and
play.
It's the first time ever Duke and North Carolina were 1 and 2 playing each other at the same time. They've been top 5 before, top 10. Great talent, great game, overtime. The young man who put the team on his back to win it.
Look at she.
Here's one thing. Maryland Terrapins. People, they're the number 2 team in the country, bumped up. That's a team to watch. And I will tell you this, Kurtis, to really, really appreciate and enjoy the game, I don't know how many fans they have now, but that's like a $6, $7 ticket. You could take the whole family, go get the great stadium hot dog
because I'm
there.
cheap?
You could I'm just saying it would make it a nice afternoon.
Because I can't afford to go otherwise. Is that what you're saying?
All right, the dummy factor's going back up now. You talking all that smack over there.
I want to see you guys play.
You will. And we are getting ready to rock and roll.
I'm going to watch you streaming.
Date's coming.
But in 2022, I want to see some live lacrosse.
So, real quick, 3 teams are undefeated in the top 20. And there are some other undefeated teams with 1 or 2, but they're dealing with COVID issues or New York State shutting things down. Maryland, number 2. Duke, number 1. And Lehigh Mountain Hawks.
The Mountain Hawks.
Not the Mountain Hawks.
They're coming. The Engineers are coming in at number 7th ranked team in the country at 5-0. So look out.
Nice.
Here they come.
Text me when something's on. We got the ACC network on right now. This looks like, what is it, last year or the year before?
Oh,
because Grayson Allen's on that team, huh?
This is a couple years ago.
Look at the Dean Dome.
The Dean Dome is packed. It's packed. Just a quick mention. NFL draft is coming up. I vote. All in favor say aye. We need to bring in Joey T to give us his pre-draft preview, right?
We love to
go,
hear
Joey.
it. Love to hear it, Joey.
All right, Joey T. And we have to say, hey, his father last year passed away. It was the anniversary of his father this past weekend. But today is his daughter Olivia's birthday. So I just thought about that. We better say happy birthday
Happy
to
birthday.
Olivia.
How old?
Birthday,
How old? Do you
Olivia.
know how old?
5. I think she's 5.
Oh, man.
We're doing kindergarten next year.
Adorable 5-year. Let's go.
All right, let's go rapid fire. Deshaun Watson's situation is looking worse day by day. I got a tweet while we were here. Another case. Thoughts?
I think I don't know.
I know. I feel the exact same way, Steve.
Until I hear someone come out here and
Right.
talk it, I worry that this is a witch hunt.
Okay, yes.
Matter of fact, because I like him so much, I hope and pray that it is a witch hunt.
Right.
Yeah.
But all these people, and why are we waiting so long? Like, if he's doing this, get his ass.
Right.
Like, but come out and say it. All of a sudden, the way that this is happening, him wanting to leave Tech is
It don't sit
I got
well,
a
right?
conspiracy theory, I guess.
Right.
Is my thing. And until it all comes out, I'm gonna feel a little bit of the way I feel. I certainly, like I said, if he has done this to women, then get his ass.
Right.
But if he hasn't, this is damn wrong.
I feel the same way.
Right. Coach Roy Williams retires.
Killing me, man. That's my team. And it's hard because I look at like a guy like Coach K, who's got this unbelievable tree of coaches out there. I don't really know who the Carolina tree is, and as I said earlier in the episode, they might have to go outside the family to bring a coach in to continue his and of course Dean's legacy. I mean, for me, I want them to be great. You know, if it's in house, hey, let's go, Hubert.
I mean,
Hubert Davis.
You know, I think there's a guy out there, Wes Miller. So if you're talking about guys in house, I think those are probably the first two names that come to mind for me. But there's some bad coaches that have always said that's their dream job. So hey,
who wouldn't want that job? But I mean, outside of being the manager of the Yankees, that's probably one of the most high-profile positions where others before Coach Williams had a little struggle there.
Right.
I went to a couple memories of his, and they kind of had this collage of moments. What a great guy. You know, I think he was successful, did it the right way at Kansas, and then here. And he just seemed like such a good coach. And I think his players thoroughly love that, playing for him.
You hear I love that on their senior night, they give their kids an opportunity to talk about what he meant to them.
Yeah.
And some of the ones in the last few years have been like unbelievable to hear the things they say about a man who probably kicked them in the you know what every single day to get the best out of them, but always did what I think is important when you're coaching kids. It's okay to push them and work them and make them tough, work them hard, but I think you always got to find a way to love them. And when you hear about what the players say about him, you can tell that they know no matter how hard he pushed them, he always loved them, and that gives me that. I love it. That's
my favorite.
That's what it's about for me. That's all. I mean, I've been saying it. I say it to you guys. It's all I'm begging for my son, and I think for years he's never gotten that. He's always had the coaches who use him as the whipping post. I think because they assume because he's a coach's son he can take it, and he can. But I'm waiting for that one coach to just put their arms around my child and show him that they love him.
You know, my Roy Williams moment is I've always been a Kansas fan, and so he was down there. And just before he took the UNC job, which we all knew he was going to take, Kansas had lost a real tough game, I guess, in the Final Four or somewhere along the line. And they asked him about that job. And he said live on TV, I don't give a bleep about that job right now. I've got 14 kids in this locker room right now.
I remember that.
You remember that? He said, I don't give a shit or something. He said something live on TV that I don't get. I'm like, whoa, Roy. But I've always been but I guess Bill Self ain't going nowhere. Lifetime contract, huh?
How about that?
UConn women, no seniors, and AZ FUD is headed their way. I mean, that's going to be, honestly, again, I hate the superlatives. I think that's going to be the most dangerous team.
I got them winning 2 of the next 3 national championships.
I don't see why they wouldn't. Final prediction for tonight's national title game. Coach O'Neal, what you got?
The Zags are pulling it out. You want to score 2?
I'm going 84-73 Zags.
Whoa.
That's kind of a score that I was thinking of. I'm going to go a little bit lower.
Okay.
I'm going to go with a 72-67. A little tighter. 72-67 Zags.
All right, write him down. He's going Zags 72-67. Coach Kurtis is going 84-73 Zags.
We'll know on Thursday. People can poke and prod.
Yeah, they can. Coach, Krissy, 84-73. I'm going Zags. Krissy, what are you going? Zags versus Baylor.
Sure.
Baylor's in Texas. Zags is in
Spokane,
Washington State.
70-65. I'll stick with the Zags.
It's too close to mine.
All right. Sticking with Zags. I
She
thought
did
she was
the
going to
same
go Baylor.
thing. I had a 5-point spread, right? Didn't I say 72-67? And you just did a 5-point spread.
She knows success when she sees it. Coach Turner, what you got tonight? I think you're going Zags.
I'm definitely going Zags.
All right.
I will say, I keep telling you, defensively, those Bears, they're mean, dude. And they got some guards. They got
And a good coach.
Got a great coach, but they got some toughness that you can't teach. Like, it's either you got it or you don't.
Okay.
And those dudes are tough as hell on defense. I'm definitely going Zags. I don't know about the score though. I'm gonna say 66-62.
All right. Ooh. All right. Going low. Going low. Number one team for our beloved Washington football team. Number one need, for our beloved Washington football team in this year's draft, Mr. O'Neal.
I'm going to go offensive line.
Okay.
They need somebody on that offensive line that is just a big old meat stick that can just kind of fill in.
You want a Schlereth type
yes,
guy?
I want another. Yeah, I want another Brandon Sheriff or somebody along those lines. Obviously, at 19, I think you're in a good position to get either a guard, tackle. One of those top tackles. I don't know, but close. They need somebody on offensive line. I like what they've done everywhere else.
I think you agree.
That's where I was going. So it's pretty simple. They definitely need offensive line. I like where our defense is. Certainly a couple pieces we can upgrade defensively, but if we get offensive line, we can make some things change. And
give Fitzmagic some time.
And I don't know what are our draft picks, Case?
I think we have 1 second round and a hodgepodge of
we need
third,
that.
fourth.
We need that. We need that.
Nothing.
We need that second round quarterback that nobody's thinking about.
Well, they were saying at 19 that the receiver from Alabama might still be available.
What?
The kid
You
that
think?
won the
Smith, yes sir.
He might be available
He's a
at
monster.
that time, which is weird.
my dude.
But he's not he's a burner and
Right.
can just run by
We
everybody.
need one of those.
Well, they just
He's
picked
not
him up
Megatron in terms of size, though.
No,
right? He's a small guy.
No, but I don't know if they
Hey,
go there.
the Smurfs were small too. Now,
Yeah, they were.
well, back in the day, we had some
Alvin
Smurfs.
Garrett.
Our Smurfs used to run by people.
Gary Clark.
Ricky Sanders and Gary Clark were not tall.
Can I tell you
Our
something about Gary
Marquette
Clark? I'm going to say it right now.
Oh, shoot.
No, Gary Clark owned a nightclub. I DJ'd for him in Bethesda. That's all. It's called South Beach. That's it.
We should get Gary on a show.
We should get Gary on the show. DJ Krissy, let's hear from our advertisers. We invite your questions, comments, and show ideas. Simply go to www.turnerandoneal.com and click Submit Your Idea.
Take a TO with Turner and O'Neill would like to thank our partners, sponsors, and donors. Our premier partner, Ray Cruz and MCF Mortgage. Our partners, the Tamara Cusick Team, Dynamic DJ Entertainment, Healthy Baller, Insurance Alliance Group, LLC. Our sponsors, O'Neill Development, LLC, Next Level Lacrosse, A Squared Home and Office Solutions, Collins Funeral Home, Peace Players International. Our donors, Winsight Media, Gene the Barber, Body and Beyond Wellness. The final word is brought to you by
Ray Cruz and MCF Mortgage. With a stellar reputation as an outstanding mortgage lender, Ray Cruz serves the lending needs of real estate professionals, builders, and individual home buyers in Maryland, Washington, D.C., Virginia, Texas, California, Florida, Illinois, New Jersey, and Pennsylvania. Ray believes that integrity is the cornerstone of his business, and helping you achieve your home financing goals is his business. Located in the heart of Bethesda, Maryland, contact Ray P. Cruz today to get started. Your home mortgage or refinance options await. Call 301-761-2278 or visit raypcruz.com. Ray P. Cruz, mortgages intelligently.
portions of the podcast were previously recorded. Back to Take It To You with Turner and O'Neill.
We are back, and now it's time for our final words, some thanks, and of course our weekly quote this week by Coach Steve Turner. We invite you to become a friend of the program. To do so, go to www.turnerandoneil.com and click Become a Friend. We are now seeking advertisers for season number 3. In season 1, we delivered more than 100,000 viewers and listeners to our advertisers. Now is the time to secure your placement in front of our audience each week. Become a partner, sponsor, or donor today for as little as $25 per episode. Advertising opportunities include on-air commercials, social media inclusion, YouTube exposure, and more. Our advertising spots will sell out, so secure your placement for season number 3 now with no payment due until July. We make it easy. Reserve your spot with no payment due for 90 days. Connect with us socially on Facebook and Instagram at Turner O'Neill Podcast. On Twitter at Turn On Podcast. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and via all podcast platforms to get the episode drop alerts. That means each episode we release, you'll get a ding to your device and you'll be among the first to know when new episodes are available. We encourage you to join the conversation, so write to us with your questions and comments at turnero'neillpodcast@gmail.com. Before we sign off, many thanks to our listeners and viewers. We want to thank you for spreading the word, and do us a favor, subscribe, tell a friend. We ask that you help us to grow our community. I must thank our engineer, DJ Krissy, you two gentlemen, Coach Turner and Coach O'Neill, and of course, Paula. Thanks to our donors, sponsors, and partners. We encourage our audience to support those who support us. Krissy, any final thoughts?
Let's see. It was a happy Mental Health Monday.
She got you. She got you back. She got you back, Coach Turner.
We're looking at some great weather this week, so
we didn't talk about that.
Be amazing.
I mean, man, it's nice out.
And we had an awesome guest today, and it was nice to hear from another coach that it's not all about the abilities; it's all about the mental as well.
All right,
well done. Okay,
Coach O'Neill.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. Excited to be here in the studio with the team. Coach Showalter, again, I'm a big fan. I was like you, getting ready to talk to, a little nervous.
Right.
I mean, this guy's resume speaks for itself. But incredible guest. I just love the guests that we get week in and week out. Or if we just talk here amongst the table, the four of us. But good job. I thought this episode was smooth.
Loved it. Thank you for bringing on Coach D Show. Seen him before, followed his stuff before. Love the fact that we had him as a guest. I'll have to put a bullet point on the resume. We got to interview Coach Showalter. Coach Turner, the floor is yours. What did you think about this week? And please give us a quote.
Great show. Great guest. He is the man. I'm glad I was able to get him to come on and spend some time with us today. Just a couple shout outs. I've had a few guys who had birthdays this week. So, Davon Barnett, happy birthday.
Mr. Barnett.
Carlos Hub.
Mr. Hub.
Happy birthday. Today, T-Bone, Tyler Thornton. Happy birthday.
I saw him on Instagram. Now, that second person, Hub, is he connected?
His apprentice is his older brother.
He played for me as well.
Apprentice is
He
older
just
brother.
graduated. He was with Terrence. He's a senior class with Terrence.
Okay.
And Studi and Chuck and those guys. He's playing at AIC and started off this freshman year with a.
Look, you've coached so many guys. Every week, there's like 2 or 3 birthdays, right?
It is.
But Mr. Thornton, I saw him today, him and that beautiful family of his.
There is. But my quote, it's about change.
Okay.
We've been talking about change for quite a while now. I think we'll talk about change probably forever until the day we die. But my quote today, incredible change happens in your life when you decide to take control of what you do have power over instead of craving control over what you don't.
DJ Krissy, pull the plug.
Take It To You with Turner and O'Neill would like to thank our advertisers. Our premier partner, Ray Cruz and MCF Mortgage. Our partners, the Tamara Cusick Team, Dynamic DJ Entertainment, Healthy Baller, and Insurance Alliance Group, LLC. Our sponsors, O'Neill Development, LLC, Next Level Lacrosse, A Squared Home and Office Solutions, Collins Funeral Home, and Peace Players International. Our donors, Winsight Media, Gene the Barber, Body and Beyond Wellness, and Justin O'Neill. Take a TO with Turner and O'Neill is produced by Kurtis Cross and engineered by DJ Krissy. All material is the exclusive property of the podcast and may not be copied, rebroadcast, or used in any way without the written consent of the podcast. The views, ideas, and commentary of podcast guests are solely their own and not necessarily endorsed by the podcast. You may submit questions, podcast ideas, and commentary to turnero'neillpodcast@gmail.com. No compensation is offered for submitted material. Should we choose to use your idea, comment, or question, you agree to your likeness, social media identity, and/or information being used on the podcast. Take a TO with Turner and O'Neill is recorded weekly and distributed via Buzzsprout, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and more than 15 podcast platforms in total. You can also view Take a TO with Turner and O'Neill weekly on YouTube. Subscribe to our YouTube channel for the latest episode drops. Some portions of the podcast may be pre-recorded. Join us socially on Facebook and Instagram at Turner O'Neill Podcast, on Twitter at Turn On Podcast, and on YouTube. Search Turner and O'Neill and subscribe. Our website is www.turnerando'neill.com. Advertising opportunities are available.